Stop scrolling. Because something just happened that officially puts you in direct competition with the US military for silver. Not metaphorically, legally, and almost no one is talking about it. For 40 years, silver was treated like junk metal, sold off, ignored, written off. But in late 2025, the US government quietly flipped the script, and that single decision may permanently change how expensive silver becomes for everyone. Stay with me, because the part they're not telling you comes with teeth. While the world was distracted by wars, elections, and market noise, the US Geological Survey finalized its 2025 critical minerals list. And buried inside that document was a word that should have made headlines. Silver, not as an industrial input, not as a commodity, but as a material essential to national security. That phrase is not symbolic. It is a legal trigger. Once a metal is labeled critical, the government gains the authority to cut in front of private buyers, redirect supply chains, prioritize military demand, and stockpile aggressively translation. You no longer get first access to silver. But here's the part that changes everything. This decision wasn't made because of solar panels or EVs or green energy. It was made because modern weapons don't work without silver. Let me show you why. Every advanced missile, satellite, radar system, and fighter jet relies on silver for one reason. Nothing else survives extreme heat, vibration, electromagnetic interference, and zero failure conditions. Silver isn't better. Silver is required. In precision weapons, failure isn't an inconvenience. It's a catastrophe. And here's where it gets interesting. Silver isn't concentrated in one component. It's woven throughout the system. Guidance, controls, power systems, sensors, communications. Every launch literally destroys silver forever. Used once, gone permanently. You've been told silver is abundant, that there's plenty, that high prices bring new supply. That is completely false. Because over 70% of silver isn't mined for silver. It's a byproduct, which means silver supply does not respond to price. This is where the shortage becomes structural. If copper mines slow down, silver disappears. If zinc projects halt, silver disappears. If political protests block transport, silver disappears. And guess which countries control most of the world's supply? Mexico, Peru, both unstable, both tightening, both breaking. Now here's the question nobody wants to ask. What happens when the US military realizes it has zero silver reserves and suddenly needs a multi-year supply cushion? You don't need to guess, because the law already tells us. Once silver became critical, it activated emergency powers, including the Defense Production Act. That law allows the government to force miners to sell to defense contractors, first override private contracts, subsidize production, and legally jump ahead of retail buyers. If silver gets tight, you wait. No bidding war, no free market, no choice. And here's the scary part. This doesn't happen loudly. It happens quietly. Inventories vanish, premiums explode, delivery times stretch, and only later does the price go vertical. Multi-year global supply deficits, exchange inventories draining. Central banks quietly adding, silver defense budgets expanding. Missile production accelerating. This is not speculation. This is procurement. Silver already doubled in price before most people even noticed. That move happened before full military prioritization, before strategic stockpiling, before panic, meaning the easy part may already be over. For decades, silver was treated as something you could always buy later. That era is ending. Because once governments classify something as strategic, they don't ask permission to take priority. They just do. If shortages become obvious, retail shelves empty, first government coins disappear, premiums detach from spot, physical silver trades by availability, not price. And when that happens, paper prices stop mattering. Silver is no longer just an investment. It's a competed resource. You're no longer deciding whether silver is cheap. You're deciding whether you want to compete with governments because they already decided. In the next video, I'm breaking down how governments quietly remove metals from public markets without banning, ownership, and the warning signs that tell you it's starting. You don't want to miss that. The Pentagon knows what's coming. Defense contractors know. Foreign governments know. Now you know. The only question left is whether you act before the shelves go empty. Subscribe. Share this with someone who still thinks silver is just an industrial metal. And I'll see you in the next one.